MC Episode 1, A Clue into Gaming. Alright, so let's start with, obviously, well, everybody starts when I was young. So at that time, when I was young, I was not even remotely interested in the games, but more into cartoons and anime. Well, okay. The anime wasn't until I was much older. But I was indeed definitely interested in cartoons. Sorry about the stuff. Anyways, at that time, I grew up with cartoons from the Nickelodeon side, for the most part, until I discovered Cartoon Network and PBS Kids much later. But at that time, I grew up mainly, though, with the Nick cartoons that a lot of kids probably grew up with, such as Dora the Explorer, and much later, Go Diego Go. Oh. But my main focus and interest as a child and baby as well, was on the one particular show with a blue spotted puppy. I'm pretty sure you all know what show that is. Blue's Clues. I was engrossed into that show. In fact, I still have a couple Blue's Clues dolls laying around somewhere in my house. Maybe one of these days I'll show you them. Anyways, though, I was hooked on the show. I watched it almost every single day of the week. Now, at the time, and still to this day, I didn't really care if Steve or Joe hosted the show. Like I said, still to this day, I don't really know. I have been very ecstatic about the reboot of Blue's Clues 2. Oh, did I mention that was the reboot? Oops, yeah, not that. Gotta try to stay focused on this. So, yeah. My main interest was in the cartoons. Much later, though, I also got influenced by PBS Kids cartoons. So it was a mixture of other cartoons at that time. At the time I was watching, my main interest was in 3 particular cartoons. Arthur, Dragon Tales, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people can share my opinion on. What was that last one? Trying to think, guys. Been a while. Dang it. What was it? Shoot. Okay, my memory's failing me, but what I do remember, I'll pop it up on the screen so you guys can see. My interest in those cartoons grew steadily. I loved them when I was a kid. I could not even imagine a day where I did not watch those cartoons too. They were like literally my whole childhood. And then around that time, my dad also owned a card shop. This card shop was basically where my dad sold baseball cards. In fact, we still have a whole stack of them in the basement where I have my room. And at that time, my dad had a whole bunch of Pokemon cards. I remember playing with those all the time and my dad getting furious with me for touching them. Oops. But it was thanks to those Pokemon cards that it piqued my interest in the Pokemon series of games. Of course, I was still too young to even know that there was an anime that existed, and it didn't even come to my attention until much later. But again, we'll get to that when we get to that. So, I decided that I had to ask my mom and dad if I could get my very first system. So, they got me a Game Boy Color and my very first ever video game to ever grace my hands, Pokemon Go. It was a fun game at the time. I used to play it all the time. It got pretty far in it too. I even had my dad get me a strategy guide when I so I could read while I was stuck. But the strategy guide wasn't well put together. In fact, it lipped a whole bunch. I should still have that strategy guide somewhere, and if I do find it, I'll pop a picture up on the screen so you guys can see it. But anyways, this strategy guide was very cool. And being someone who grew up on tech and really started to learn a lot more about technology, it piqued my interest even more if there were more games for some of my favorite shows. So I decided to do some research and look it up. It turns out that Dora had a whole bunch of games for the system. At the time though, I only had a Game Boy, and then later I got a Game Boy Advance. So I wasn't able to play any of the big games that my big brother was able to. At that time, I decided to just stick with the simple and get Dora's Super Spot Eyes, I think that's what it's called, and Dora Piggy's Treasure, which was two password-oriented Dora games for the Game Boy Advance. I later got Dora's Superstar Adventures, which was a much simpler game, but that one didn't pique my interest as long as the other two did. Those games were some of my favorite games in the Game Boy Advance, and still are to this day. Hey, I would totally replay them if I even had the voucher disc. Anyways, continuing on, as I got older, more and more shows started to pop up on Nickelodeon and PBS Kids in general. Later on, other shows caught my interest at PBS Kids, such as Virgo and Kipper. I even got a little bit more interested into Sesame Street at that time too, even though to this day and even back then I wasn't really remotely interested in Sesame Street, and I can definitely confirm this. Instead, I did lean more to the next side once more, and there were several interested in shows. Now get ready, because this is a long list. Those shows include The Wonder Pets, Wow Wow Wubsy, Go Diego Go, and, well, I'll pop the rest up on this list so I don't have to go on and on saying names. A couple others included Holly Hobby as well, Strawberry Shortcake, and the Care Bears. These three versions of the Care Bears in particular. These were some of my favorite shows to watch on Nick Jr. And at the time, I was actually very excited to learn more. I used to watch The Wonder Pets almost daily as well as Wow Wow Wubsy. When I found out that Nick Jr. was actually moving over to the Noggin channel, I was very ecstatic. I could watch all my favorite cartoons 24/7 without having to wake up early in the morning. So you can imagine my surprise. Around that time as well, I got a PlayStation 2 for my birthday. And you could probably tell that at that time, I was finally ecstatic to see if there were any games available for Dora, or one of my favorite childhood TV shows. And sure enough, there was one Dora game available for the PlayStation 2. And that one is Dora Journey to the Purple Planet. This was based off of a TV episode at the same name, and that took place around or near the middle of the Stock Exchange for Dora episodes. One of my top #1 favorite eras of Dora. Anyways, I used to play that game all hours on end, and my buddy even got me a memory card. If I recall correctly, that was actually my very first PlayStation 2 game. Yay! Finally! Okay, got through the Green Planet. Alright. I can't wait to see where we go next. Time to check the map! but it wasn't my top pick. As much as I did love Dora's Journey to the Purple Planet, I did get bored of it. Until a new game based off of the upcoming Dora special Dora Saves the Mermaids came out. Now that one kept me busy. Although it was much shorter than Dora's Journey to the Purple Planet, at least that's how I felt about it, I did enjoy by playing it for very long. Around that time as well, my interest in other games grew. I started to play a little bit more Pokemon as well, and I got Pokemon Fire Red and Green. However, my interest in the series started to dwindle a little bit as well, so I lost interest in Pokemon and just really focused on Dora. And then, I got my first taste of mature gaming. Well, at least that's how my younger self saw it. MX Unleashed. That was my first ever, you could say, mature game. The game was so much fun. I used to play it all the time when I was a kid. And thanks to Xbox One backwards compatibility, I'm now able to play it anytime I want every time I feel the itch to go back to my childhood. But anyways, this game was so much fun to play. Right? I used to use the cheat codes I was able to find online to unlock all the tracks and all the characters, and oh my gosh. Ugh. Sorry, I could go on about this game, but it's later now when we're recording and Ethan's waiting. So, yeah. Anyways, continuing on, as I grew up, my interest in Pokemon started to dwindle more and more. I started to even pull away from Nintendo a little bit and be more engrossed in my PlayStation 2 than I did to their systems. But I still did play them time to time. Just not as much as I used to. That was until the DS came